Hey everybody, how you doing? And welcome to Foto Friday.
Hi everyone.
I'm Bob.
And I'm Karen.
Well, you know what? That little intro of ours is pretty much how the whole week has been. It's been a very mellow and just a relaxing kind of a week. But we did a lot of traveling though.
Just not as much long distance traveling this week. We went to a few places, but they were basically closer to home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, where are we off to first?
Well, right now we had a couple of places that we went to last week. Actually, 2 or 3, sorry.
Yeah.
The first visits that we did, we went to Lanceville and French Creek for the herring run.
Which was really cool.
Yeah, the herring run was on Vancouver Island out in the Strait of Georgia in the Parksville, Qualicum Beach areas. The region's harvest rate for herring was 20%, and it's always been that for decades.
Wow.
The reason for this is they want to ensure the long-term viability for herring for the ocean ecosystems.
Yeah.
It's the food source, we found out. It's one of the main food sources for the marine life, for the whales and sea lions, etc.
And a lot of people that were there that day were complaining because the guys out there fishing were out there a little bit longer than they should have been.
Yes.
And well, I remember a couple of the ladies were saying that, that's very important for a lot of the whales and sea otters and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's important not to deplete the herring too much, and that's why they set a harvest rate at 20%, and it's been like that for decades.
Yeah.
So we ended up going up there on March 13th on the Saturday. However, there wasn't as much activity. You can see in this picture, though, there's quite a few seagulls around. Apparently, that's nothing compared to on the Thursday.
Yeah.
I met another lady photographer in my travels, Jeannie, and she had gone there on the Thursday, and she had posted some pictures of some surf scoters.
Yep.
And seagulls, and literally there was hundreds of them. I couldn't believe it. She said there was sea lions just up on the shore, jumping out of the water, going for the fish.
We missed an event. We definitely missed an event.
We did see some. When we went, there was quite a few, but they were a little further out, but it was still really cool to see. And that picture there that you see, that's what they call a surf scoter duck. And that's why I mentioned the one picture she took, all you could see was black in the ocean. There was hundreds of them just feasting on the herring.
Yeah, that would have been incredible.
It would have been.
Next year.
Yeah. Now Bob ended up getting, there was eagles soaring around. Finally, but they weren't, unfortunately,
in a close.
No, they weren't really close, and they were also soaring in front of the sun.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to get a good picture of the eagles because they're there feasting on the herring as well.
Definitely.
Now this is where we went to French Creek, Marina. We were also told by some locals that that's another good spot to go when the herring run is on. So we ended up going up there. It was really windy that day, and we went out on the breakwater wall and walked out there, and you can see there was a sea lion. The seagull just has his eye on him there.
Oh yeah, he's just barking at the pigeon that he's going by.
Yeah. So anyways, we ended up seeing a few sea lions there. We also saw there's the fishermen that were out in one of the boats, just one of the local fishermen there, I guess.
Yeah, now could you imagine catching a fish and having one of these guys take it off your line? I mean, it's like frustrating, eh?
That would be funny, actually. So there's, I guess, one of the pictures you took of one of the fishing boats
coming in, with the mountains behind it. It was a little chilly with the wind coming in off of the strait there, but it was beautiful. The sun was out periodically between the clouds, and just having the mountains there up against the I guess as a backdrop for the boat, I thought
it was really pretty. French Creek was only about another 10-15 minute drive. It's actually located off of Highway 19A between Parksville and Qualicum Beach, which runs along the east coast of Vancouver Island beside the open water of the Strait of Georgia. And again, as I had mentioned, we walked out onto the breakwater to see if there were any sea lions basking in the sun on the rocks, but unfortunately there weren't. And as you saw, we did see one swimming around. And what Bob just mentioned, the view across the Strait of Georgia, the coastal mountains, was absolutely beautiful. French Creek, here's actually another picture of some, what is that that's not a, you know what?
Is that a merganser?
No.
No, I can't remember the name of that one now. You know what, I'm going to have to find out, because I actually can't remember the name of that particular bird. We'll have to look it up. But that was just in a little inlet, just where the breakwater was. They had built up rocks. Anyone who remembers, I guess, down in Scarborough there at the bottom of Brimley, they had a huge rock formation that went out into the water, and that's pretty much what they had built up down here. But it goes out pretty far into the water. And it was pretty amazing what you could see, especially with the sea lions, otters, and there's a ton of ducks when the actual water was actually going out that came in to the inlet. And there's, as you can see, some really beautiful ducks.
And this one was the red-headed Merganser.
Yeah.
Beautiful duck.
Now I'm thinking that other one that's got to be the female, if this is the male. That's what I'm thinking.
It could be. We'll
I'm
have
not
to. We'll have
sure.
to look that up for sure.
Because these two were traveling together in the in that little lagoon section. So I'm thinking that's the male, and the other one, the black one with the white's got to be the female.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. So that was our little outing for the herring run. We also went to a couple of times last week. We actually went to Swan Lake, also known as Swan Lake Christmas Hill, I guess, Nature Sanctuary. It's located in Saanich, which is about a 12-minute drive. We actually found out about this place from another local photographer, Brian. Thank you.
Only cost us $29.95.
He ended up meeting us there, and we went and hiked there. Really neat place in Swan Lake. It was. It reminded me of Bog Pond, I guess it is, in Algonquin.
Yeah, in Algonquin. Right.
Is what it reminded me of when we walked around. So we went there again, as I mentioned, twice last week. So we're just going to go through a little bit on that for you now, as I'm going to bring up a video for you here.
And just so you know, we didn't actually pay $29.95. That's just a running joke that we've got going on right now. So if Ron, if you're watching it.
Brian,
I'm sorry if you're watching it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Swan Lake was really cool. The actual lake itself is about 107 acres. The lake surface area is 23 acres, but during the winter months, I guess when you get a lot more water coming in from the mountains, it can actually increase substantially to around 80 acres. Now, the First Nations people have been living in the BC area for, well, they say between 8,000 to 9,000 years. And the oldest documented archaeological site in Victoria is about 4,200 years old. That's pretty incredible. Now, Swan Lake was very important for hunting and gathering for the Songhees people. Back in the day, the streams that fed the lake, they were filled with a multitude of fish, like salmon, rainbow trout, steelhead trout, perch, and they were caught by trolling, jigging, spearing, and the placement of wooden baskets in the water. That's just, I find that fascinating. Now the Songhees people, they hunted a variety of large birds, and they collected their eggs, especially in the wintertime during the spring migration when the bird population soared. Now, what's really interesting is the food that they found in ancient villages show that the bird species represented back then are still visiting Swan Lake today. And they include scooters, grebes, geese, swan, sandhill cranes, loons, cormorants, grouse, pigeons, and then predatory birds like eagles and hawks. Now,
and my favorite, the ducks.
The ducks. Now, this was, I guess, this was what Karen wanted to do.
This was my highlight.
Oh, my God, yeah. So we're actually just going to let this go before actually I say anything more. This was Karen's highlight of the day, I guess you could say.
Did you get that?
Yep.
Yeah.
was in my glory.
It was fun to watch. Now, the origins of Swan Lake, there's a little bit of speculation on that. They think that it might have been named after James Gilchrist Swan, and he was an American journalist, a school teacher for the local First Nations. He was also a lawyer, a judge, a school superintendent, a railroad promoter, national historian, and an ethnographer.
What is an ethnographer?
That's someone who studies the culture of particular societies or groups.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
wild.
just learned something new.
I know, but this guy was into everything. But going back to the origins of the lake, the more popular belief is that the lake name refers to trumpeter swans that would have visited the lake regularly. Now, Swan Lake was also used for harvesting ice by the Victoria Ice Company and Baker's Brickyard from 1889 to the early 1900s. Now, unfortunately, the lake itself did fall into some disarray in the 50s as, I guess, the population started to grow on the island. But luckily, in 1963, the municipality of Saanich announced plans to clean up the lake. They installed a sewage system which helped drain a lot of the bad water that was coming in from the surrounding area. And in, I guess, June 16, 1975, the Swan Lake Christmas Hill Nature Sanctuary Society was formed and officially incorporated under the BC Society Act, providing protection for the lake right up to this day. So this is one of the most beautiful places that inland where you can come and see a lot of really beautiful birds and wildlife.
And this is a pano picture that I took of Swan Lake. So when you're out on the walkway that goes, the boardwalk that goes across the lake, you're looking on your left-hand side, and this is the photo that I took, a pano picture. It's that way it would hopefully give you a good idea of how wide the lake was.
Yeah, and that actual walkway is all built, it's actually built with pontoons underneath it, like kind of like a cottage deck, right? A cottage dock, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's really weird when you're actually on it and you're trying to take pictures and people are walking past you.
It moves.
And it's bobbing up and down,
it
right?
It moves, yeah.
So it takes a little getting used to when you're out in the middle of the lake walking across this one section. Actually, you can just see it
on
in the upper left-hand corner there.
That's right.
And that's just all on pontoons.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is kind of, it's bizarre.
Oh, it's really neat.
But it is fun.
And when you walk by that brush area, when you're on the actual boardwalk, on the brush that you see there on the right-hand side of the screen, the ducks are right there. They're so used to people.
They are.
And they're all through the marsh area, and you're seeing all different types of birds. This is one that I got a picture of. I'm just starting to learn all the different birds myself.
Same here.
Called an American Coot. I downloaded, both Bob and I did download on our phones the Audubon Society app that you can identify birds. You can actually go in and institute like the bird call. And what a lot of photographers will do is they'll open it up when they're out in the field, and you can press the link and it actually has that sounding of the bird, which may call that bird to the area.
Yes.
So I haven't tried that yet,
No,
but
neither have I.
I will.
Yeah.
But this one, now unfortunately I didn't get a picture of his legs and feet.
Yes, which is supposed to be very unique.
Oh, they are. I've actually looked up on the internet because I'd never seen one. And if you want, have a look and you'll see the webbed feet is just amazing, and the green, they've got this green colored thick leg and these huge webbed feet.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Do they have black stripes on them?
I don't
remember.
I'm not sure. They're more green.
Yeah.
Just from the image that I looked on the internet. So I definitely want to go back there. I'd love to be able to get a picture of one with showing his feet.
Definitely.
This is another new bird that was new to me. At first, when we saw them when we were here, I thought it was a robin from a distance.
Yeah.
Now, there are robins here too, but this one's called a spotted Toehee. And the reason for that, in this next picture, you can see he's got the spots on the wing. But the coloring on the partial of the chest is the same as a robin, that reddish brown. Really beautiful bird.
This
You
is a
can
great
see his
picture that you
red.
got, by the way.
Thank
This
you.
is a really good one.
Thanks. You can
His
see
eyes,
his
just
eyes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as we were leaving, I saw another one that was in a different tree. So I grabbed another picture of from a different angle. So again, that's another spotted towhee.
You know, next time we go out, you're going to do the videotaping and I'm going to do the photography.
Maybe. And another one here is an American widgeon. Seen those at the lagoon too, when we've gone to the lagoon. I only saw one of these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barred owl. Yeah. This was on our first trip to Swan Lake.
And this was the first time that we met up with Brian.
Yes, that's right too.
Yeah. And Brian goes into these places like on a regular basis, and man, he can spot an owl so much easier. I mean, he knows what he's looking for.
Yeah.
And when I was actually in looking at the owl, I tried to go around the tree to get a better angle, and I lost sight of him. He blended into the tree
so true.
So quickly. It just disappeared on me, and I actually had to kind of really dig around there, or visually dig around to see where the heck did he go to again.
Yeah,
it's
what
amazing.
A beautiful owl, though. The color was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Another bird. Well, everyone knows these ones. The Canada geese. I just like that picture because the water was so calm at the time that I did take it, and you could see the reflection of the geese or the goose in the water. So yeah, there's just one of birds that we all recognize.
Exactly. And now the cormorants.
Yeah, the double-crested cormorants. They basically perch on that section. Both times we were there was 3, if not 4 of them always there.
Exactly.
And this time that I got this picture, one of them actually left that area and was flying. He did 3 loops or 4 loops around the lake until he actually landed in the water and then dug down. I guess he was going for fish.
Yes.
But I tried to get a picture of him in flight, which unfortunately didn't turn out. So.
Me too.
But
it's a learning process, let me tell you.
It is, but a lot of fun.
Yep.
This is my baby.
Yeah.
This is actually that's the female duck that I fed.
She fed. Yeah.
And when I finished feeding her.
Are you going to give her a name?
I hadn't thought about that. I just
name.
maybe call her. I don't know, Princess.
If anybody thinks of a name, put it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go back and feed them again.
Yeah.
But and I did actually ended up petting her after I had finished feeding them. She didn't leave. I was petting her chest. She was so soft. And then I went back and I stood back and I got a picture of her and she was still standing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you give them the proper feed. I wouldn't feed them anything that wasn't good for them.
Yeah. Once again, thanks a lot, Brian.
Yeah.
$29.95.
Another bird,
This is a great pick.
golden crowned sparrow.
Yeah.
Same thing. When I had taken the picture, I honestly wasn't 100% sure what it was. I've been educating myself as I go.
As we go, yeah. I mean, that's it. We take pictures of all these different birds. We have no idea what they are because we're new to it. And that's the best thing to do is just take as many pictures as we can. And I like the idea of being able to document the different birds that we've shot in that particular app that we've got now. So it's really cool.
Yeah, you can document the sightings.
Yep.
And with sparrows, yeah, everyone says, "Oh, that's a sparrow," but there's so many different types of sparrows.
Yeah.
And then there's of course your male mallard. He was just it was just at the side of the trail when we first went in. They were all sitting there. Some of them were sleeping and had their heads like tucked right around into their feathers.
Yeah.
When I went and took the picture of him, he actually lifted his head up and looked at me as I was taking the picture. So that's exactly probably it. This was the ringneck duck, and we only learnt what this one was from another gentleman that was there taking photos.
Right.
He had mentioned to us before we went out into the open area on the boardwalk that there was a ringneck duck out there. So this was that duck that I ended up getting a picture of.
Yeah, he's beautiful.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
And this is another type of sparrow. I Googled it on the Audubon, the song sparrow.
Yeah.
Just on the ground off to the side of the walkway again.
And that's it for this Photo Friday. So we just want to say thanks again, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us. And guys, if you're looking for any artwork for your home or your home office these days, please take a look at Through Our Lens, shop the galleries and take a look at our artwork. We have a lot of different images available for sale and great pricing. So once again, thank you from TOL on the road, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.